Hello again, it's Larry from Willowbank Garden Centre in Dungannon. It's the last day in November and we have moved indoors today and we're going to look at propagating a very popular house plant. This is called the money plant, not to be confused with the money tree. This particular plant in my hand that I'm going to take cuttings from is about 4 or 5 years old. That plant was propagated from this plant. This is the parent plant, quite a large chunky plant. This plant could be 30 or maybe 40 years old. Just to show you how big it will grow, and I'll set that to the side. We're just going to use some compost here. This is a compost mixture of 50% sieved John Innes compost, 25% perlite and 25% vermiculite. It's a nice loose damp mixture. So I'm just going to fill the pot to the top and tap it down. It's just filled to the brim of a nice loose mixture. I'm going to use 2 pots and I'll show you. I'm going to use them for 2 different types of cutting. Again, tap down loosely and I'll set that aside. So I'm going to take the cuttings of this plant here and I'm going to move in and take about 4 inches from the top of the plant with about 5 or 6 leaves on it. There's 1, 2, 3 and 4. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove the bottom leaves and I'm going to leave about 4 leaves on the top of each plant, and I'm just going to use these here. So we end up with about 4 leaves. And we just press them into the compost till the leaves tip the soil, like so. We'll repeat that with the others. Just cut off below a node and just press into the soil. Again here, just leave about, again, 4 leaves. Well, we'll actually end up putting 3 in that pot. Those will be placed in a tray of water and they will sit in that for about 10 minutes. I will not water from the top. That pot will absorb water up to about halfway. These plants, when propagated, do best in a south or east facing kitchen window. These particular plants here were propagated by my wife 2 to 3 weeks ago, and you can see that they're thriving sitting in this south facing window. So it's just to give you an example of how quickly they root. Now, the second pot I've used here, I'm just going to use the leaves. I'm not going to waste any of the plant. So again, you can propagate these from a leaf cutting by just placing the leaf about halfway down into the pot. Now, why is this plant called the money plant? It is because there's a number of reasons. One being that the leaves can actually look like a coin. So that's one of the reasons it can be called money. So I've put about 6 into that. Again, that will be put in a tray of water to soak it up from the bottom. The plant itself, the shape of the leaf is one reason it's called the money plant. But it is a tradition that it is given as a wedding present in some countries. It's also given as a housewarming plant. Again, going back into tradition, legend has it that it got its name when a poor farmer in Taiwan many years ago fell on financial hard times. He prayed to his God to alleviate his problems, and one day he was out in his garden and he found this plant growing. He propagated the plant, took care of it, and sold it over a number of years and made sufficient money to rid all his debts. It is also supposed to be a sign of prosperity. Generally speaking, you do not buy it for yourself. It should be received as a gift, or you give it as a gift to family and friends. Care, it's an indoor plant. It thrives in a temperature above 10 degrees centigrade. It needs very little watering. You water from the bottom. You feed it about once every 2 to 3 months. Again, adding some liquid feed to the bottom of the plant. The plant will grow, it is a slow growing plant. In high light levels, it will, the edges of the leaf can turn pink. In certain growing conditions, you may get a small white flower in the autumn or the winter. So it is a very popular plant, easy to grow, and as for ourselves in this house, we have had one for at least 40 years, if not more. So that's our first video in propagating house plants, and over the next couple of weeks we might look at 1 or 2 others. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and if you liked the video, please subscribe. Bye for now.